because I'm not living here yet. In Nashville, they do have venues for writers. It's one of the few things that keeps the writing community together. We have NSAI, Nashville Songwriter Association, BMI, ASCAP, and all this, but these things are not bonding anymore. The only thing holding it together are the venues, the Bluebird Cafe, the listening room, and people like that. It's very difficult to get people in to listen to songwriters because they don't know what we are. I grew up thinking whoever sang it on the radio had written it. And so it's very difficult to just put up a billboard that songwriters are here because nobody knows we exist. The toughest thing about a venue is getting people to actually listen because they're used to bands that kind of insist that you listen to them. And with us, we hope you listen and we want to share with you. We don't want to show you what we've done. We want to share with you what we've done. And the hardest thing to do is find an audience that will sit there quietly. And you have been so great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And Robert, for providing the venue. That's a tough sell. And I thank David for this too, because they don't get it. And I know you stuck your neck out, you and your family, to allow songwriters to come in here because we're so hard to market. And I'm so grateful to you for sharing your place with us. And that makes me really proud. This is the kind of place people expect of Texas, and you've done a great job of making it. Thank you. I'm going to do this last song for me, and it's the first song I ever had recorded. I'll try to keep this story short, but I was just banging around. I played in a rock and roll band for almost 20 years. We were very fortunate, traveled all over the country, and just had a great time playing, mostly Air Force, some Marines and Army and stuff like that, like Fort Hood. But we traveled all over the country having a blast. And then it came to a screeching halt one night when a little airman at Lackland ran up to the stage in his little green uniform. He was the basic training, he had his head shaved. And my band was loud. If you were not good in the 80s, you just played loud. So we were really a loud band. And we were probably playing Walk This Way or something. And I'm talking big hair and spandex now, okay? I know that's hard to imagine, but this is for real. This little airman runs up to the stage and he's yelling over the band, which wasn't unusual. Generally, when you leaned over, they would go, "Play Free Bird." And so that's what I expected from him, not what I got. He's yelling at me over this Walk This Way rock and roll thing going on. And he said, "Hey, did you know that my mom and dad were both in the Air Force and they met right here where I'm standing and y'all were playing?" And I went, "Oh my God. I'm wearing spandex, man."
You had to shift that potato around.
Oh, buddy, I'll tell you what, that was an album. Well, that band began to fall apart at that point because the keyboard player was older and fatter than I was, and we had kids old enough to be doing this. But anyway, I ended up without a job, and I didn't know anything else. I had fixed truck tires all my last few years of high school and just out of there till I joined this band, and I didn't want to go back and do that. Fixing tires is honorable until the cattle trucks pull up, and then it's not honorable because it's not that. So I didn't want to go back there. But I was writing songs for myself, making cassettes of them, giving them to family and friends. And I was out of work, so I ended up selling oranges off the back of my truck, my Suburban, on 1604, the loop around San Antonio. I was out there parking. Y'all probably bought some from me. I sold grapefruit and oranges out there for a guy that would go down to the valley and buy a field and have it picked and brought it up. And I was pulling down about $40 a day to try to keep my house. I had a middle, just a medium home. It wasn't anything great or anything bad. It was just in a regular old neighborhood house, and I was really proud to have it. And I was trying so hard to keep it, selling oranges, and kind of freaked out about how long I could hold on like that. One day I came home, and on my answering machine is this guy that says, "George Strait wants to record one of your songs." Well, now, I wasn't wearing spandex anymore, but I was still rocking pretty hard, so I listened to 99.7 KISS Radio, so I didn't know who George Strait was. He lived not very far from me, and I didn't know who he was, never heard of him. So I didn't think much about it, but I did think, well, if this guy does any good and records my song, maybe he'll send me $500. That'd be great, and because that's a lot of oranges, and you get a little business going. And when I wrote down the number to call back, and I couldn't remember anybody's name, George Strait or the guy who had called on his behalf. It was his manager. My big concern was that it was a long distance call. Do y'all remember this? And I was broke, man. And I thought, well, I'm going to call him. I can't wait till 7 because they'll be closed when the rates went down at 7 p.m. So I just thought, I hope he doesn't talk very long. And I called him. I couldn't remember names, so I got a hold of whoever it was. It was his manager. And I said, well, go ahead and let that guy record my song. That was pretty much it. And he had gotten it through a friend of a friend of a friend who I gave a cassette to, and it was a long trek, and God got in there somewhere and made it happen. But I hung up, and I started waiting for that $500 check to show up, you know, and it didn't. About a year went by and no $500. I thought, I guess that George guy didn't make it. I was kind of bummed for him and me, because I could have missed the $500. Almost another year went by, and I came home one day, and there's an envelope in my mailbox from a company called BMI, which I had joined when I was a kid. And the only reason I chose BMI is because it was on an Elvis record that I had. It said BMI, and I said, I'm joining that because that makes me like instant cool. And it's free to be a member. You have to be active, like writing songs, and I was writing songs for me and my band and stuff. And so I joined BMI. But here's this envelope now from New York City. And it's BMI, and I'm thinking, God, of all times for them to start charging a membership fee. And I didn't even want to open it. I did open it, and inside that envelope was a check from BMI, and it had my name on it as a recipient, and it was spelled correctly, which is unusual. And then this number thing for the amount that amounted to more than my house cost. And I mean, I've never seen anything like that. And I'm thinking BMI has really made a big mistake here. This is so wrong. And it was a Friday evening, so I thought, well, Monday I'll call them and get it straightened out. However, I wanted my mom to see my name on a check like that. This poor woman had put up with this rock and roll kid practicing in the garage for 100 years and wearing spandex till he was 35. She deserved to see my name on a check like that. So I jumped in my Suburban, I drove to my mother's house, and I showed her the check, and she was so tickled. I did not qualify it by saying it's probably a mistake, Mom. She needed that joy, so I just let her have it. But she handed the check to my stepdad, and he looked at that thing, and he went, you know, Aaron, I get these all the time, and you never really win. Publisher's clearing out. He did. He was looking for Ed McMahon on the envelope. And I said, what? So that really happened. This is real stuff, can't make it up. But I called Monday and they said, no, that's yours, that's your check, and they'll be coming about every 3 months now. I was stunned. My family had never, I don't think my family in 2 generations had earned that much money. It was just, we were hard workers, but we wasn't a lot of money. But anyway, it was a life-changing event. And what it really did is gave me an opportunity to end up going to Nashville and working with a lot of Texas guys out of the Waco area and stuff. A guy named Doodle Owens who wrote a lot of Elvis Presley stuff and George Jones stuff. And Whitey Schaefer's become one of my best friends in the world. He's out of Whitney, Texas, and he wrote All My Exes and Does Fort Worth Ever Cross Your Mind and The Way Love Goes for Haggard, a bunch of Haggard stuff. And these Texas boys are really tight out there. They partner up with you real quick. And guys who wrote the songs I grew up with and thought I would never even be in the same room with, all of a sudden I'm in their living room writing songs with them while their grandkids are running around. So it's been an unbelievable blessing and journey. And I have been so blessed. But this song kind of kicked that whole thing off, and there's no telling why. I don't know why, and I just give it to God. And he either made a big mistake or did me a huge favor, or both. But I'm grateful for it. And I have young people coming up now about this song. They're married and they have kids, and they tell me they grew up listening to this thing. And that is the highest compliment I can give, is for a young person that's not like a little kid, that's grown up and got a family of their own, having listened to this. So you're looking at 25, 30 years. To have a song live that long is pretty fun and great. See, I ran into one of the first celebrities I ran into were the Bellamy brothers. Remember them? And I went up to the Bellamy. Yeah, did they? Well, I walked up to them one time and I said, God, I love you guys' music. I grew up listening to it. And Howard got mad at me, man. He's like, He thought I was saying he was old or something, and we're almost the same age. I was just saying I grew up with their music, so I'm real cautious about saying that to people. But man, when people tell me that, I'm just like so tickled over it. Man, what a great compliment. Anyway, I'll shut up and play. She looked so much like a lady, but she was so much like a child. The devil when she held me close, and an angel when she smiled. She always held it deep inside, but somehow I always knew she'd go away when the grass turned green and the sky turned baby blue. And baby blue was the color of her eyes. Baby blue, like the Colorado skies. Like a breath of spring she came and left, and I still don't know why. So here's to you and whoever holds my baby blue tonight. She brought colors to my life that my eyes have never touched. When she taught me how to care, I never cared so much. And I try not to think of her, but I fall asleep and do drift off where the grass is green and the sky is baby blue. Baby blue was the color of her eyes. Baby blue, like the Colorado skies. Like a breath of spring she came and left, and I still don't know why. So here's to you and whoever